A very formal good evening, everyone. Your simple yes will help me out. Am I audible to everyone?
Yes,
Yes,
ma'am.
ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes,
Yes, ma'am.
thank you so
Yes,
much.
ma'am.
Thank you. And I'm very sure after today's webinar, all of us will have a lot of learning. People are talking about National Education Policy 2020, and that is one of the most, proliferated buzz of the days these days. Most of the channels have been showing a lot of debates on this topic, and even the newspapers have highlighted this for many a days. Now, what it is all about, how we are connected, whether we'll be benefited out of it, and like there's so many FAQs related to National Education Policy 2020. So I thought, why not we shall discuss on this platform. So it will be more of a kind of a presentation that I'll be putting forth in front of you, so that you will be having a better understanding about the topic. And since we are all academicians in terms of either seeking or imparting education, we are all academicians, and in that case, all of us should know about it, because we are the direct beneficiaries of this national education policy. Now, the I will request all of you to stay connected and just have lots of learning from it. I'm going to present the screen right in front of you that shows the presentation. All right. Is my screen visible to you?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes,
Yes,
ma'am.
ma'am.
I don't know. It
Yes,
has
ma'am.
got stuck somewhere. Let me see. But one of the questions that I was going to ask, I think that is very much on the screen. So my trick of asking a question from you has gone in vain, especially those who have joined me. Anyways, I shall move to the beginning of the slide, so that we start from the very beginning and do not miss even a single part of it. So yes, here it goes. Yes, we are all somewhere or the other related to Red Rose Senior Secondary School and this beautiful school that imparts us lot of learning. All of us get a lot of experience every day, and that is what we come here for, right? Be it the brick and mortar school or be it the online school, we are part of Red Rose. So I welcome you all, a formal welcome to you, all the teachers and the students as well. Now, when it comes to the national education policy, let me make it very clear. This has been put on forth by the government of India from one of its wing, Ministry of Human Resource Development. I hope you all know it is the Ministry of HRD that is responsible for all the educational reforms in India. And very lately, this MHRD has been newly nomenclated to Education Ministry. So that's a new name that has come forth. So a new name in terms of the Government of India channel, that is Education Ministry, for that is responsible for giving us this new education policy. So NEP is somewhere confused whether it is a national education policy or a new education policy. So let me make it very clear the difference between the two. National education policy, is introduced to the people after a few years. So initial NEP was given to the country, given to the citizens of India somewhere after independence. Then it was revised in 1992, and then it was re-revised and in 2015 when the Modi government came into being. That was into its manifesto that the new education policy will be launched. So new education policy 2020 has a lot of reforms. That is why it is also called as new education policy, but it is national education policy only, right? So an introduction about it. Why was this required? So I have a write-up here. I'll quickly read it for you. The world is undergoing rapid changes in the knowledge landscape, and I hope everyone will agree with it. With various dramatic scientific and technological advances, such as the rise of big data, machine learning, and artificial intelligence, many unskilled jobs worldwide may be taken over by machines, while the need for a skilled workforce, particularly involving mathematics, computer science, and data science, in conjunction with multidisciplinary abilities across the sciences, social sciences, and humanities, will be increasingly in greater demand. Though machines are being introduced, still manpower, the human power, and the human brain will always be in demand, provided that is very nicely sharpened, very nicely skilled. That is what the statement says. Now, with climate change, increasing population, and depleting natural resources, there will be a sizable shift in how we meet the world's energy, water, food, and sanitation needs, again resulting in the need for new skills labor, particularly in biology, chemistry, physics, agriculture, climate science, and social science. Now, the growing emergences of epidemics and pandemics, we are already undergoing one such pandemic now, that will also call for collaborative research in infectious disease management and development of vaccine that is being talked about so much and so more these days. And the resultant social issues heightens the need for multidisciplinary learning. So I hope you all will agree when I say that whatever happens in the world, whatsoever progress we make, be it the introduction of machines also. Now, to make machines also, we need human brains. So that sharpening requires something called as new education policy. So there is a sharp overview here. Name of the scheme is New Education Policy 2020. So I hope now you know the difference between National Education Policy and New Education Policy. New Education Policy 2020 is one of the many national education policy that has been given for the people of India, right? Name of the ministry, that is Union Cabinet Minister for Human Resource Development, Government of India. This was responsible, and this is, of course, the ministry behind NEP that is introduced, and now newly named as Education Ministry. Now, who is the HRD Minister? So I hope I have penned down these separately for you, because these are FAQs, and this will help you in many of the GK competitions, in quizzes, and of course in many competitive examinations or kind of professional entrance examination. If you will be appearing, these are the things that is very, very important, will help you for sure. So HRD Minister is Dr. Ramesh Pokhriyal Nishank, though the name is not very common, but I know these days this name has been called out so many times that it is a known figure and name also. It is launched by the central government of India. Who are the beneficiaries? The students of India, finally. And the major benefit is it provides new reforms and infrastructure in India. And what is the launch date of NEP 2020? That is again very important. The launch date is 29th July 2020. So this is something that you should remember and pen down if you have got a diary and a pen. Another write-up here that will give you another insight about this policy, the vision of this policy. The National Education Policy 2020 we are talking about, it envisions an education system rooted in Indian ethos that contributes directly to transforming India, that is Bharat, sustainably into an equitable and vibrant, knowledgeable society. Equitable means justified, that provides justice to everyone, that treats everyone equal, right? So they are talking about the Indian traditional things also, the what you call as the basic things from India also needs to be sharpened, and it needs to be advertised all over. So this new policy also does it. So when you talk about NEP, they have talked about pottery, they have talked about embroidery. So there are certain things that have been confined to a few cities of the country, and at times even in tribal areas. You talk about Madhubani paintings, so we definitely, all of us would like to put those kind of paintings on our drawing room walls. But then, how many people are really practicing it? So there are any hardly amongst any one of us who knows what it is all about. We go to the market, we look for Madhubani painting, but how many of us can actually do it? So this NEP will help us sharpen our skills. If we are good at paintings, why not we should try our skills on Madhubani paintings? And that's one example I've picked. So I hope this is going to help you out. Of course, you can learn more about such practices also that are being done in the tribal areas, in the rural areas, or in confined in some few cities only of India. Now, the policy envisages that the curriculum and pedagogy of our institutions may develop among the students a deep sense of respect. I repeat, it must develop among the students a deep sense of respect towards the fundamental duties and constitutional values, bonding with one's country, and a conscious awareness of one's roles and responsibilities in a changing world. When you're talking about what are the what are the rules of being a minister, suppose in civics you learn, or suppose when do you get that favor or that kind of opportunity that you can vote for India. So it's not just you get to know that when you are 18 you can vote for India, okay, but also you will also be made to how much it is important to vote for our country and why it is important. So because not many people are aware, so they take that voting day, the election day, as one of the holiday for themselves. Even many of you, many of your parents and many of your relatives will also be thinking like this. So these kind of policy that has come up now will also help you not only know about our constitution, not only know about our fundamental duties, but also the privileges and our responsibility back for our country that is there. The vision of the policy is to instill among the learners a deep rooted pride in being Indian. Yes, I'm an Indian and I'm happy and proud to say this. So this kind of, feeling has to be instilled into every Indian, not only in thought, but also in spirit. So when I say this, you say that when you say this, it goes in through your entire veins and arteries of your body. So that should be there. Intellect and deeds, as well as to develop knowledge, skills, values, and dispositions that support responsible commitment to human rights, sustainable development and living, and global well-being, thereby reflecting a truly global citizen. It's not about only India, but definitely since we follow the concept of Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam, and that is very much into our own sanskar. So this policy also helps us to make us realize that we are, of course, the country citizens, but we are also global citizens. So we have certain responsibilities for the entire world. That's the vision of this policy. And now I was talking about this gentleman, the man behind New Educational Policy 2020. So yes, I know that a few of you must be knowing his name, but let this continue. He is Krishnaswamy Kasturi Rangan. He is an ex-ISRO chief also. He was born on 24 October 1940. Another very, very important question for your GK competitive examinations, for your quizzes, and for kind of entrance examinations that will be held henceforth. I am very sure that at least there will be 4 questions that will be asked to you in any of the competitive examinations that will be done, be it on banking, be it for any kind of entrance examination for any college entry or whatsoever. So he has also headed ISRO. He was the ISRO chief from 94 to 2003, and presently he's the chancellor of Central University of Rajasthan and NIT University. Children, I may also request you, if you do not pen down as we go forward, you can also take screenshots of these slides that move on, because you can preserve these slides for your own self. These are really going to help you a lot. And it was last year only when he finalized the whole thing and gave it to the hands of the Prime Minister of India this year, finally, after planning the whole thing. And a panel of experts led by this ISRO chief, Mr. Krishna Swamy Kasturi Rangan, he had discussed about the issues and changes to be bring about in the Indian education system, ranging from school to college to recruitment. That means three-tier policy has been made. These suggestions were compiled and then these were approved by the ministry. So what are the outcomes? Now, very important points. Universalization from ECCE. What is ECCE? It is Early Childhood Care and Education. Right? We talk about the national education policy that has been given to us earlier. They have the curriculum designed from classes 1, that is a child of 6 years, up to the child of 18 years. That means from class 1 to class 12. We have all the plans, but we were not having any plans for pre-primary education. So we had kindergarten scheme going on somewhere. Some people were following no bad thing. Some people had started out with worksheets. Some people had started out with only playway methodologies. So these are the preparatory schools that have come up. Now the CBSE or the HRD, or in education ministry now I should call it as, this early child care education, has the kind of system or the education system that can be envisaged to a child of 3 years also. From 3 to 6 years, there was a gap when the child used to learn somewhere in the outside world, or maybe the feeder schools of the formal schools. So now these people have a plan for such children also. So that means universalization from ECCE, that is pre-primary, a child of class age 3 years, to secondary education by 2030. That means everything will be streamlined by 2030, another 10 years to go, aligning with SDG. SDG is Sustainable Development Goal 4. So these are, what are these sustainable development goals? This basically, ensures that all the children, be it a girl or a boy, gets education, and that too quality education, right from their primary level to their senior secondary level. So now people are talking about right from a child of 3 years of age to the child of grown-up confident child of 18 years, right? Attaining foundational learning and numeracy skills. Another very important thing. That means one thing, the person should have a command on the language, be it the mother tongue, not necessarily English only, though English is a secondary language and it is the most sought after language when we have to deal with the entire world. But then they also talk about the learning skills. That means even if it is in your mother tongue and you know the topic, you are there, you will still be there. And the numeracy skills, little of addition, subtraction, division, and multiplication. It is these 4 things everyone should know. That is a national mission by 2025. So another 5 years to go. Everyone, even if you talk to any of the rickshaw vendors or any of the street vendors or your vegetable vendors or shopkeepers or panwalas or whosoever, they will be able to write down. That thumb printing, of course, will be required for your Aadhaar card, which is very much important, but then everyone will be able to sign his or herself and will have numeracy skills by 2025. That will be the outcome of NEP once it is implemented in its true meaning. Then 100% GER. GER is gross education ratio. So in preschool to secondary level by 2030. That means when in general term, in common term, let us say there'll be 100% literacy in India. This statement says that, right? Then teachers to be prepared for assessment reforms by 2023. So every year, that's a big challenge coming forth to our accommodations. Every time, earlier there was CCE, then there were formative examination and summative examinations, and there was then objective type questions came forth. So gradually there are a lot many reforms, but by 2023, another 3 years to go, things will be streamlined, and we are into that transition phase these days, but things will be finalized very nicely. Inclusive and equitable education by 2020. Inclusive means beat anyone, girl, boy, or even the uh, gender specific or in specific person also will be a part of this education, right? Be it that anyone who belongs to any caste, any creed, any religion. And equitable again says quality education by 2030 will be there. Board examinations to test core concepts and application of knowledge, that is very important. So when your teachers explain you the concept, try and think for a number of MCQs for yourself. And now, even now, there are many scenario based questions that have been put forth. It is not just having a rote learning on a particular definition, rather how it is implemented into day to day life, that will be more emphasized upon. So we'll be more analytical and more expressive. Every child will come out of school adept in at least one skill. And of course, that is one thing. You will not be, having a question in mind and heart, what next? So you will be very clear. If I'm talking about you, I'm talking about student. When they come out after doing class 12, they'll be very clear about their concepts and common standards of learning in public and private schools. So there'll be no discrepancy and no, kind of barrier in between. It will be common platform. And what will be the major reforms? New education curriculum framework will be designed for schools, for teachers and adult education. Board examination will be low stakes. Low stakes means they'll be costing less, right? They'll be not so expensive as per the board copies, and then we have so much of it. So of course, the students are also requested to pay the registration fee for board examinations, and even the boards also charge from the school, and then finally the whole process goes on. So that's a change. Now it will be a low stake kind of a thing, and it will be based on knowledge application. So let us see what is there inside. We'll be able to get to know after some time. Medium of instruction till at least grade 5, and preferably till grade 8 also it has been proposed, that and beyond also, in home language or mother tongue or regional language, whatever you can say. So that will be there. And 360-degree holistic progress card of the child, tracking students' progress for achieving learning outcomes. So it is not just one day examination that will count for child's progress and child's development. It will be on the regular tracking system. Then National Assessment Center, PARAK, that's a beautiful thing the government of India has introduced. You can go to it. You please Google this. It is very, very important. PARAK is a kind of examination center. That's an assessment. We don't call it examination center. It is more of an assessment center wherein you can prove your worth. Even if you are a class 8 child and you want to prove your worth of being a graduate, you have already studied much about it, and you want to have a certificate. Suppose you are very much into sociology, right? You know much about social reforms, you know much about social leaders and about the policies and about those things. You can appear for an assessment through PARAK and have one certificate for your own self, right? In the outside world, I don't know whether through this platform I should tell you or not, we have one such assessment center called Brain Bench. I've taken around 11 12 international degrees out of it. So I appeared on few topics that I was sure that I'm perfect on it, and I got the certificate. So same thing will be of great importance even in India. Now it has been introduced. Then we have NTA to offer common entrance examination for admission to HEIs. HEI is Higher Education Institutes, right? So you have heard about NTA when it comes to NEET examinations. NTA is National Testing Agency that has started conducting rather the NEET examination also from this year, from 2020. It has lately done it on 13th September. On Sunday only, and very nicely done during this pandemic. And now this NTA will also organize one common entrance examination. We call it JEE, or joint entrance examination, for all the IITs and this all kind of Roorkee entrance. All engineering graduates try for one JEE, and then according to your scorecard, according to your percentile that you achieve, you choose your college, you choose your faculty that you could get. Same ways here, through if you want to go to any of the higher education institutes, that is college. All right, you have to appear in one common entrance examination, and you'll be selected, you'll be given the college based on your merit in that entrance examination. So be prepared for that, right? And then we have national professional standards for teachers. Yes, it's a beautiful thing for teachers, a kind of assessment for the teachers that yes, they are competent, of course knowledgeable also, and competent in teaching. That presentation skills is also important, so that will all be tested through this. And then book promotion policy and digital libraries, again a very beautiful thing. I'll just scroll through the slides and I'll show you about it a little later. Then transparent online self disclosure for public oversight and accountability. So everything is going to be very, very transparent. Any kind of question you have, you put forth and you'll get the reply properly. Then universalization, I think about ECCE, we have already talked about. Then national mission on foundational literacy and numeracy. Also, again, this is one of the new reforms. We have already discussed about it. And then 5 plus 3 plus 3 plus 4. That's again a beautiful thing. 5 means earlier there was 10 plus 2. That means they were more into board classes, means 9, 10th, 11th, 12th. And now board classes means it is from pre-nursery to class 12, right? The first 5 includes classes pre-nursery, nursery prep, then first and second. Those 5 classes, right? Then it is 3, that is third, fourth, and fifth. That is second, third, 3. Next 3 means 6th, 7th, and 8th. And then 4 is 9, 10, 11, 12. So this is what is 5 plus 3 plus 3 plus 4 is, right? Fine. And then it is the next point says curriculum to integrate 21st century skills, mathematical thinking, and scientific temper. Yes, it is not just simple rote learning. It will, sharpen your brain so much that it will, you'll be able to analyze things and learn about it. No rigid separation between arts and sciences. Another very beautiful thing. Who says a doctor cannot be good in music? Who says an engineer cannot dance well or cannot have a degree in dance? So now, even if you are a math student, you can opt for fine arts if you are good at it. Fine. So that is now the beauty of national education policy. But then I'm sorry, the children who are in class 12 right now will not be able to gain benefit from it. But then the children down the hierarchy, of course, when they'll be moving to the next classes, will be able to gain benefit. So then between the curricular and extracurricular, between vocational and academic streams, there'll be no barrier. Now, even if you want to take pottery as your very, very important subject, you can take that. If you want archery as your main subject, right, you can opt for archery also, because that also has been a very important, Indian soil kind of an art from the soil of India. So that is what the government of India want, that more people should be trained at the school level, not after the school hours. Then the parents should, put the child into some special training classes and teach them. It is during the school timings only the children should learn such arts. But then there's a long way to go. We have to make a lot of preparations, but I'm very optimistic we'll all be able to do it. Then we have education of gifted children. Gifted children, they are children with special needs. And the gifted children are the ones who are either mentally not as normal as you. They might be much more, they may have very high IQ level, very, very high IQ level, or they may not be of that physical fitness as you. So they are all gifted children, right? So the education, the right to education goes the same for them also. So there is a provision for them also, a separate curriculum or some kind of easier curriculums that help them to understand things in a better way. Gender Inclusion Fund. This is the fund specially raised for the girls and for the gay people, because they should also get education, and for the people who live in tribal societies, rural areas, or in remote areas. When you talk about, there are still many people who do not even know what a mobile phone is, so education should reach to them also. So that is there. Then we have KGBVs up to grade 12. What is KGBV? I hope you all would have heard about KVs, Kendra Vidyalayas or the Central School. Then we have Jawahar Navodaya Vidyalayas or JNV. This is Kasturba Gandhi Bal Vidyalaya. This is basically for girls, for tribal girls. Until now, it was only up to 8th standard, and now it will be upgraded to grade 12, means up to 12th standard. So that is another new thing that is going to be added. The reduction in curriculum to core concepts rather than rote learning, and vocational integration from class 6 onwards, that has already been done. So my children, here in Red Rose also, you will be asked to pick one vocational subject for yourself, and we'll be doing that also with you. So there's a few slides, the snapshots that I have put in. I'll quickly go through these also. Now, national education policies, I'll read the darkened statements here. This is to bring children who have dropped out back to school and prevent further dropout rates by providing effective and sufficient infrastructure, and also just to ensure and to know why they enrolled, and they should of course be attending the school. So if there is any discrepancy at the child's end, maybe due to funds, or maybe due to lack of knowledge, or maybe due to the family pressures or whatever, even if they have dropped out, then there will be resources, there will be more provisions for them so that they can continue their studies also. There shouldn't be any dropout, and they should have sustainable opportunities to catch up and re-enter school in case they have fallen behind or dropped out. I think at Red Rose we do it very nicely. If their child is not attending classes for a few days, be it for any reason, they are not the so-called dropouts, but if they are not present, definitely the teachers ensure that that part is done with you people. So that is what we talk about. Then this is more of HEIs will use mother tongue or local languages, and the GER should also be improved. That is another policy. Then they talk about early child care and education. So a national curricular and pedagogical framework will be made, and it will be developed by NCERT. So until now, NCERT books kab se aati hain? From class 1 to class 12, isn't it? Now the NCERT books will also be introduced for the pre-primary classes. That is for pre-nursery, nursery prep also. Then early child care and education, that is the playway or the kindergarten or the amalgamation. Let us see what comes forth. We'll all be following it as per the government norms. Then we have technology in education. Yes, that is very, very important. Teaching, learning, and assessment. Everything is important. And this is National Education Technology Forum. This has been, working on the technologies, what all new technologies can be introduced. So when you talk about, people coming up with those smart classes, how it is introduced, it's the government that keep on, giving this task to the service providers, and they take it wholeheartedly, they invest a lot, and then they reach out to schools and to the children through these kind of initiatives only. We have an MOOC. What is this? This is massive online kind of open courses, open online courses that is there. When such courses are there, that means everything is digitalized. And how? Through the library, or maybe through various universities, through their website, they put a lot much of videos, as we also have started doing due to this pandemic. And it's Red Rose and many other schools also who have blossomed and who have really worked so hard for all you children, that such videos have been put forth on their portals, and a lot many experiments and lot many things, lot many PDFs have been uploaded, so that the children, even if they are not able to catch up with their regular class, can download and learn the topic as per their necessity, their need, and their comfort also. Then Divyang friendly educational softwares are also there. There is a child who cannot see, so there'll be much of audio for that particular child. If there's a child who cannot hear properly, there'll be much more of, you know, videos for such children, so that they can see and understand about that topic. So such things are there. E-content in various languages are there. So if there is a child coming from one remote village of from Andhra Pradesh, the child is not very competent about any other language but his own other mother tongue. So in that case, the software is also developed. Now you have that kind of softwares even in your mobile phones, right? Earlier it was only English. Gradually there was Hindi and English, and now your mobile can also be transformed into various languages. Even Google also, you can ask any question in your language and Google also answers. So such things are happening to meet 21st century challenges. And virtual labs, another beautiful thing. I'll see if I can get some chance, I'll show you that. And then online assessment and examination, as I've talked to you about Parak. So this is again the new thing in technology. Then changing the approach to teachers education, and it will be, of course, not just confined to one subject. I am an English teacher, I will teach only English. Sorry, this will never be accepted. Even if you are an English teacher, you should know something about gardening, you should know something about stitching, you should know something about child psychology, and keep on training. Of course, many of our teachers are doing this otherwise also. They have their own art, but then this will be a very important thing for everyone. You have to move to multidisciplinary college and university so that you can learn more than one skill or subject. Then reduction in curriculum will be there. There will be core essentials, critical thinking, interactive classes, and experiential learning. Experiential learning means more through fun and play, through your own creativity. You join, like there's a group formed and many children together do it. So that is what it is all about. Then there's one, it is also it also aims at achieving an equitable and inclusive education by 2030. I've already discussed about these things. Of course, scholarships for students from disadvantaged groups will also be given. Now, another very beautiful thing. Now, especially it is very important for the children who will be passing class 12th in 2021. They'll be undergraduation will be of either 3 or 4 years with multiple entry and exit options. Suppose after 1 year, there's a dire need of you to work for 12 hours for your family, for example, right? Then you have to be a dropout. What happens after 1 year? You are a dropout. You are neither called the BA, BCom, or BSc, whatever faculty you chose. You are not called a graduate. You hold nothing, but you hold what? You are back to class 12th child, right? You are termed as, what is your education standard? You will say, I'm a class 12th child. I haven't completed my graduation. But now you may exit and do a certificate course. And after suppose an year, now you realize, you feel that you have done much for the family and now they are able to sustain themselves, and you can now pursue your education. You can again restart or resume your education. You can go for the second year also. Second year dropout will get an advanced diploma. Third year, of course, a bachelor degree. That is the today's scenario as what you get. And 4 years means bachelor's degree with research. It's here now that your bachelor degree will be complete. This research part will be very, very important. Every degree should have a research degree. Now, recruitment of teachers through a transparent, robust process. So that's again for teachers. I think this is self-explanatory. Recruitment will be based on merit, motivated, energized, and capable faculties will be taken, right? Equitable and inclusive education. I hope this picture explains you. See, inclusive education means even if there's is that the children are with special needs, the handicapped children who cannot move on their own, there'll be wheelchairs, there'll be ramp in the school, and they can move around. So special education zones will be formed for them, and there'll be special system in the schools also. And this is the gross enrollment ratio for higher education also need to be up by 50% by 2035. That means for higher education means that is for after doing your 12. There are many children, many people who are not able to continue their education after 12. Then they land up becoming a peon somewhere, a kind of a, you know, helping staff or a guard somewhere कि हम 12वीं पास हैं, right? But now that also, I mean, those kind of people will also be promoted, will also be motivated, and the higher education ratio also to be, you know, improved. Then, of course, a gender inclusion fund that again for all girls and transgender students that all I have already discussed. Promoting multilingualism, that especially they are talking about our own you know, mother tongue, that is Hindi. They're talking about Sanskrit, they're talking about Prakrit, they're talking about those languages which are now you know, diminishing. We need to promote them, motivate them, and, you know, go with it. Then early childhood care and education, of course, all children are grade 1 ready, and they start with the formal education. This is Diksha. This is another big thing for teachers. Now you can brush up your skills. There are lot many videos, lot many skill resources also, and lot many you know, PDFs also. Lot much of resource material is there on this Diksha, and you can, you know, learn more about the topic. So it is benefited. It is basically meant for the teachers because this is of a particular standard, but even the children can gain benefit out of it. Now this is the National Digital Library of India. I think few of your teachers would have already discussed about it. Please, please, please Google this and go to it. I think we are running short of time, but I'll still be wanting to take a snapshot and show you the National Digital Library. Let me see if I can take you to that. I think I'm here. All right. Is my screen visible? Can anyone help me with a yes?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
All right. So this is National Digital Library of India. One library, all of India. This is the website, right? So they talk about the schools, the CBSE examination, the engineering, science, humanities, literature, any topic you see, all the type of resources such as books, audio books, lectures, video lectures, lecture presentations, notes, simulations, question papers, solutions, everything is available, right? So this is digitized. So this is from the government of India. Please, you can make use of it rather than you know, googling your own or gaming softwares, playing games, and doing whatnot. I think when you find time, when you are with your own mobiles, you can, you know, browse through such things and gain benefit. Like if it is science, let me open one such screen for you. You will get all these subjects that come under science. If I talk about physics, I click physics. Then in physics, you will get to know about whether what kind of lecture you want to open. Suppose you want to know about physics question and solutions, you click on that, and then gradually you can, you know, move from one screen or the other. And then see on the right hand side, you see there are so many topics, so many questions to satisfy your quench. Even in chemistry, see, you get lot much of it, and whatever kind of data you want, keep on clicking, and it is a maze chase. You keep on chasing, it will put you in, and there's lot much of it, right? So let me get back to my presentation. All right, fine. This is about Digital Library of India. Then this is virtual labs. It is the laboratory online. Fine. This is again an initiative from the Government of India, from Ministry of HRD. So I'll take you on a quick view there also. All right. So I've already opened these websites just to save on time. These are the participating institutes: the IIT Bombay, IIT Kanpur, IIT Hyderabad, Amrita Vishwa Vidyapeetham, IIT Madras. You see, there's so many IITs, so many people who have contributed to such laboratories. And then these are the objectives so that you can play on. Suppose here I click on computer science and engineering. Okay, it will tell you, suppose I want to learn something on basics of HTML lab, right? I click on HTML lab. Here is the write-up. Here's the list of experiments. Suppose I click on list of experiments. And here I want to learn how to apply attributes and HTML tags, for example. I click on this, and then whether it it will show the aim, and then it can help us create the HTML pages also. So more you put yourself in, you will get to know. You want to know the procedure, click on procedure. This is the theory, pre-test, simulation, post-test. Post-test means it will help you what all you learned. So if you click on procedure, it will show you the procedure. If you click on simulation, it will show you whatever you have created. Applying and post-test means it will show you, or it will ask you whether you have learned all these things or not. Okay, so this is how you can test your own self also. Okay, now let me be back to my presentation. So that's all about the digital drive. The technology is in education, the teachers in education. Of course, the new thing, the people who, of course, the students also who will be wanting to do a B.Ed degree program by 2030. The minimum degree qualification will be a 4-year B.Ed degree that will be required from a teacher. Then we have much of financial supports also from the government for SC, ST, OBC and other socially and economically disadvantaged groups. They'll be given benefits. Private institutions will be encouraged to offer scholarship to their children. And professional education will also be there in the colleges. That will be very much there. Now they have talked about let me be back to that screen. Anything new here? Yes, we have National Institute for Pali, Persian and Prakrit I was talking about. Indian Institute of Translation and Interpretation to be set up. So these new things will be there, of course, through this policy. Then, yes, way forward, where we will stand. A new education policy aims to facilitate an inclusive, participatory and holistic approach, which takes into consideration field experiences, empirical research, stakeholder feedback. Stakeholders are who? The teachers, right? As well as the lessons learned from best practices. That means there could be a person who is very innovative. So this is how discoveries and inventions are made. So when teachers do it every day, to make you people understand, they may come up with new ideas. So that idea is of course acceptable at the MHRD. You can, as a student also, if you come out with a new learning outcome, yes, I've learned this topic through this methodology and I think this is very much important. You can discuss about it with the government of India and that definitely will be taken in. And this is about the 10 plus 2 and 5 plus 3 plus 3 plus 4. I think I have already discussed in much detail. And this slide is basically to make you revise that you are very clear about this concept. That earlier it was 10 plus 2. Now it is pre-nursery to 2, 3 to 5, 6 to 8 and 9 to 12. So that is what will be the structure of the new education model. See, this says it. The foundation or the foundational cadre is up to class 2. They are talking about up to the age of 8 years. 8 to 11, that is 3 to 5 children, that is preparatory. The middle group 6 to 8 for the children of age 11 to 14, and secondary, that is 4. Fourth cadre from class 9 to 12 for age group 14 to 18 years. And then the higher education, of course, as I talked about HEIs, so a small revision on that. You have to have a joint entrance examination that will be conducted by NTA. So you have to be future ready now. And then part 3 says other key areas of focus on professional education. That is again very, very important because you will be skilled in at least one skill. So then you can seek for your professional education thereafter. And anywhere you are a dropout, you will not be considered a dropout. Whatever skills you have, that particular skill will be honed and utilized. So that's your positivity and your own willpower also that can help you fight it. Now, if implemented in its true vision, the new structure can bring India at par with the leading countries of the world. This is what is said by the MHRD. So they have done it for us. Now it's for us to implement. So I hope we all will be, much more ready. A big thank you for, yeah, a very good thank you for you people, and I stopped sharing this, and I believe that you are now very clear about it. Now you know about national education policy. If someone asks you, you will be able to answer. Now you know much of it. I believe anyone has got any kind of query to ask, please, you are most welcome. Anyone? All right. So I take it for granted that you are now very clear about NEPs, but then there is a lot of homework to do once you are through with your half yearly assessments. Please ensure you do a little study on that so that you are more confident about it, because many more competitive examinations that you will be appearing for very soon, you will be asked such questions also, and you should be very picture clear about this topic. Fine. So I call it for the meeting. Shall I? Thank you so much for joining me on this webinar on National Education Policy 2020. And I believe now my children and my teachers um, will be much more confident on this. Thank you so much.